a more authentic witness than to cite from a letter of Mr. Emin Dirvana, representative of Turkey in Cyprus. We must recognize that they cannot remain there indefinitely and that the political solution cannot await the end of the force's presence. It is regrettable that the policies of the extremists among the Turkish Cypriot leaders, unfortunately encouraged and helped from outside, makes the solution an extremely difficult one to find. Their unshakable attitude, all their actions, are only intended to lead to the dismemberment of the island. All the moderate elements among the Turkish Cypriots are subjected to the pressures of their extremist leaders. And when that does not suffice, the unities of the Turkish fleet are put into action and terrorize the entire population. Therefore, history has never known dismemberment except after imperialist aggression that has always been condemned by international morality. Today it is not only morality, but the United Nations itself that has spoken on the matter. In fact, the historic document, which is the Declaration on the Granting of Independence to Colonial Countries and Peoples, specifically states in paragraph 6, any attempt aimed at the partial or total disruption of the national unity and the territorial integrity of a country is incompatible with the purposes and principles of the Charter of the United Nations. And the United Nations has proved its respect for this principle by undertaking the operation that saved the Congo from the threat of disintegration and secession. The message is clear, but only Turkey seems not to have received it. Mr. President, to the Council, the assurance that the Greek government will continue to give all its support to the peacemaking efforts and the mediation undertaken by the United Nations in which the Greek government trusts. The Greek government deplores the fact that no progress has as yet been achieved in the search for the political solution to the problem, but we are convinced that when that solution begins to appear in its rough form, Cyprus will enjoy calm and peace that it warrants as any other country does. To arrive at that result, only one thing remains. We have to clear the road of all the threats that still stand and tackle the problem in the wide, honest light of the principles of wisdom and the sacrifices of thousands of generations from which we have inherited it. In one word, the principles of our Charter. Initiatives and perseverance have to be taken against the adverse currents imbued with outmoded concepts. Those who undertake these initiatives will have, in the last analysis, have worked for justice and peace. And we know by experience, specifically speaking of Cyprus, that only peace based on justice can be stable and lasting. Thank you, sir.
I thank the Turkey is still preparing and planning an invasion of Cyprus. It is perhaps for this reason that the Turkish representative yesterday reasserted the right of Turkey to intervene, whereas his colleague on a previous occasion in the Security Council avoided to reply, twice indeed, to my question whether Turkey really possessed such a right. Well, Mr. President, in my submission, it is most essential that before the Security Council takes any action or endorses any resolution, that it must have a clear answer, a clear undertaking by the Turkish representative in the Security Council that Turkey is not preparing an invasion of Cyprus. And I must insist on an answer, Mr. President, because this is ignoring the resolutions of the Security Council. Thank you, Mr. President.
Finally, we have now before us a 5-power draft resolution contained in document number S/5776, which would, if adopted by the Council, authorize the renewal of the United Nations operation for a period of 3 months beyond June the 27th, when, as we all know, the original period specified in the resolution of March the 4th in paragraph 6 of the resolution comes to an end. We are grateful to the 5 delegations concerned for their action in tabling this draft resolution at the present time. Mr. President, the Secretary General's report is a comprehensive, informative and carefully constructed document which forms a good basis upon which the Security Council can judge what action is now appropriate to the situation. Certain passages of the report can be regarded as reassuring or encouraging. For example, it is clear that the United Nations believe, therefore, that member states and all others concerned should cease taking action of this kind, which must surely be inconsistent with both the spirit and the letter of paragraph 1 of our resolution of March the 4th. It cannot be right that forces serving under the United Nations should be put in greater peril owing to an arms build-up brought about by the action of member governments. In this connection, I wish to refer also to the introduction of conscription. My God, the United Nations force should be renewed for a period of 3 months, as recommended by the Secretary General in paragraph 122 of his report. As the Secretary General points out, and we entirely agree with him, it is more than likely that the withdrawal of the force on June the 27th would lead to an early resumption of fighting, which might well develop into heavy conflict. The view